Hey everyone, welcome to the video update on Bitcoin. This is Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. Typically this would be tax day, but of course we've got some coronavirus issues going around and that's been extended. So I do want to give a real quick update on all of the things that were discussed yesterday, kind of take a look at some of the trend changes, some of the things that we discussed as potential areas of support and kind of see where things are at now. Before I get into this, of course, this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. Let's go ahead and get into the charts. Okay, so this is the view that we have on Bitcoin. So you can see here, we talked yesterday about this area down here. So we were looking at this, basically we were looking at this yellow area as support. And let's just go ahead and drill down in here. So we were taking a look at this yellow area as support. It was support back here in this area. We came down, we tried to claim this as support, it didn't hold, it just fell right through. Now we're coming back up. So again, going back to the original idea from yesterday, I was expecting this down move, as you can see here, and it went down a little further than I expected. But naturally, we're going to be expecting some upside. Now, the question is, how much upside are we going to go? It's very possible that we see resistance here since we broke through. It is very possible we do see 67.75, which is just a tick above where we currently are. Very possible we see this as resistance now. So this was previously support back here. Now I'm kind of expecting to be resistant, very similar to what happened here. So with this, I'm kind of expecting this is going to move down further, potentially back down here to 6,600. As you all know, if you're paying attention on the Discord, our downside target is going to be about 6,400. That has not changed. We are still looking for this to complete down here at about 6,400. Potentially we go down a little further. You can see I have an alert here at 6,350. 63.4750 is where my alert is. Before I move on to the other chart that I was working on diagramming yesterday, I want to take a look at what's going on here. We have a bullish cross on the hourly, which leads me to believe we can move up a little higher. Still, I'm looking to see what happens here at about 6,800. Also up a little bit higher here at about 6,840. I do expect there to be a lot of overhead resistance here. But what I can see down here is I see the hourly is crossing up, but the 3 hour is, it looks like it wants to go down. 3 hour does look like it wants to go down. The other thing that we were talking about yesterday, we were talking about, higher highs on the price and lower highs on our indicators. And so there was a little bit of bearish divergence on this high right here. And of course, we have more than likely already seen that bearish divergence play out. When you see bullish divergence or bearish divergence, you also have to understand that depending on the time frame that you're looking at this, it may not last a long time. If you're looking at a 5-minute chart and you see divergence, you can really only expect that to happen for like maybe another 15 or 20 minutes, okay, the divergence play. When you're looking at an hourly, you're probably looking at about 6 to 8 hours. Looking at a 4-hour time frame, now we're talking. Now we're talking that this could last for a day or two. If you're seeing divergence on dailies or weeklies, that's where you can see this happen for multiple weeks. But when you see these divergence plays, you're really only looking at maybe the next 5 to 15 candles, okay? So if we go from right here where we see the divergence, we identify it right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it brings us down here. If you go another 5, you come down here. 15 candles brings you all the way down to where we are right now. So, that trend has been set there. And we saw a bearish cross here, and then we saw another bearish cross here on this high right here. So you can see this as a left shoulder ahead, a right shoulder. That could have been played out. That could be done, right? I still think that we have downside ahead of us, but I want to talk just a little bit about what those divergence plays can look like. Again, it really depends on the time frame that you're looking at. The shorter the time frame, the less time it's going to take for that divergence play to work itself out. The higher the time frame, the longer it's going to take, the more patient that you have to be. And also, keeping in mind, the higher time frame you are, the wider your stops are going to need to be. So you're going to be increasing risk. But on higher time frames, you're going to be looking at a much longer play, and more than likely it's going to have more percent gains if you're correct. All right, so let's take a look at the other chart that we were looking at. I believe it was on Coinbase, yes. So let's take a look at this. We were looking at this yesterday, and very interesting, very interesting. We were talking about resistance, right? Okay, so we were talking about resistance. We had resistance clear. Right here we had resistance. We got rejected at the median. Okay, the median got rejected. I put an alert out on the Discord to short on futures. So on XBT U20 at, I think it was 69.24. The price action was at 69.2350, and I didn't want to mark it in, and I should have because I did not get filled. I did not get filled. I'm pretty upset about it, but it happens. We've rolled over. We did see a little bit of support here. I'm going to go down to a 30-minute time frame because the 30-minute time frame is what we used to create this channel. Again, we were looking at candle closure up here, candle closure down here. That's what defined our range. Again, we had 100% move to the upside, 100% move to the downside. We see these outlined in white. Our green channel, we're looking at this. I'm going to zoom in on this here. The green channel we were outlining based on a touch down here, a touch right here, and then also we had a touch up here, 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 here. Plenty of touches to the upside, okay? But what have we seen? As far as the median, we see, rising move with the median on this. And then same thing right here. We fell through, we came above it, more fighting here at the median. Support at the median, resistance at the median. Resistance at the median, and then it rolls over. But what did we see here? We did see a bounce, but it didn't last. Okay, so we saw a bounce here. We broke down. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, if I had to guess, I'd be willing to bet this right here is going to see an up, a down, and an up to the lower of the channel, and that's where it's going to roll over. Okay, I do expect something like that to happen. It could be that this takes a little bit longer to work itself out. Maybe it goes right back up to this resistance, right? Maybe this is going to take just a little bit longer to work itself out. Again, I'm on a 30-minute time frame here. Wouldn't surprise me one bit for us to find some resistance right here, because again, we have this level right here as resistance. So let me just point this out right there. Find some resistance here, find support here in the bottom of the channel, then work itself up, try and overthrow the median. Very possible this happens. And then we see this push down, finally back down to, again, our targets, if you're on the Discord, our targets are 6,400. Okay, we've been looking at 6,400 for a while. And I did outline that on the other chart, on the BitMEX XBT USD chart. So we've been keeping an eye on this. But obviously, this channel broke. It wouldn't surprise me one bit for us to retest the bottom of this channel, and then we roll over at that point. I still expect this to be resistance. I have no reason to believe, at least right now, short term, that we're going to break above this. If we pull ourselves back into this, then we've got something else going on. Okay, so if we happen to see something like this happen, hold on, let me go ahead and pull out, and so we've got the channel. If I see something like this happen, where I see a push right up here, and then we find support here, and then we go up here to the upper, we test this as support, that would be ideal for another move to the upside to get us all the way back up to potentially 7,000, 7,200. That is very possible that that happens. Now, it would take an awful lot for this to happen. I don't see this in the cards short term. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't see this happening in the cards right now. I do see, at least on the 30-minute time frame, that we have our stochastics that are trying to cross to the upside. A little bit of a squeeze going on here in the 30-minute. If I go to the hour, actually, let me just talk about the squeeze here for a moment. Let me pull up our Bollinger Bands. I've got Bollinger Bands on here. Oh, that's not the Bollinger Bands. Nope, I don't have Bollinger Bands. Let me go ahead and pull on Bollinger Bands to this. Okay. So Bollinger Bands, we're going to start a compression phase here. Okay, so the 20 simple moving average on the 30-minute time frame is sitting here at 67.73, 60, we'll call it 67.75. On Bollinger Bands, if you're looking at the industry standard configuration for Bollinger Bands, the middle line is just a 20 simple moving average, nothing special there. But yeah, it does look like we're starting to compress, and that would be good. And basically, when I'm talking about compressing, we can take this large expansionary phase here, and then basically what's happening is the lower band is compressing inward, and the upper band is continuing to move itself down. So that's what's happening here. The upper band is still moving down, and the lower band is starting to curl up. So it's going to start compressing. Then we're going to see some momentum building in here, and eventually it's going to break in one direction. I don't believe that this is going to break to the upside. I believe that it's going to continue moving to the downside. Time will tell. But it wouldn't shock me one bit for us to test the upper band on the 30-minute time frame. You can see it right here, okay? After a large expansionary phase, right? You could short the upper band, long the lower band. Short the upper band, maybe you get stopped out here, but at some point, shorting the top, longing the bottom, shorting the top, longing the bottom, shorting the top, and then closing out of that position. You can only do that for so long. But as long as things are continuing to compress, that seems to be an okay strategy. Of course, you have to work on stop losses because a really good example is right here where the price continued to go up, right? So there's going to be a point where you have to say, okay, well, I'm going to get out of this position. And in something like that, if you're interested in this, I do the 30-minute time frame. Let me zoom in on this area right here just so I can talk about how you can play this. All right, so right here, you're talking about basically shorting on the upside, I guess not on the upside, but on the other side of the upper band. Your stop loss would be basically where the top of that wick would be. So basically your stop loss would have been right here. And then, this didn't actually hit. So the top of this one is 68.19.99. This one hit 68.19.19. So it didn't quite get stopped out. But if that happened, I would have exited that position. But right here's a really good example, okay? So what you've got a stop loss right here, working your way out. But you want to get out of that position on the lower band, and you had an opportunity to do that right here. You had an opportunity to long down here, which you would have had an opportunity to get out up here, okay, on the other side of the upper band. And you can really only do this, for scalping, you can do this on a 30-minute time frame on Bitcoin. It seems to work really well. Be careful with fees. If you're trying to do this on Coinbase or something like that, you're likely not going to be profitable. These swings are too small. But anyway, getting back into the meat and potatoes of this, I do think that we have a little bit of a bottom forming here, at least on a 30-minute time frame. Going to see some upside. If I go to an hourly time frame, we're starting to see a bottom form here in the hourly as well. And as far as the divergence goes, we had our bearish divergence here. You can see we had a lower high on the stochastic indicator, and we saw the rollover. Okay, and as far as the downside goes, I don't see really any meaningful hidden bullish divergence. If I were to zoom into this, okay, again, this is our low, and then we did have a slightly lower low. It's not anything to write home about. It's not anything that's really worth it. But again, I can see a move to the upside here, at least testing the lower of this channel. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you right now. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. And if you're not on our Discord, just go ahead and throw in a comment in the YouTube chat. I'll be more than happy to get an invite code out to you. It doesn't cost anything to join. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, good evening. Stay happy, stay healthy.